Fumfi Fevi 1. Your future is being built by what you do today. Most people imagine that their future will change because one day something extraordinary will happen. They believe that the perfect opportunity will appear, the perfect person will walk into their life, or suddenly they'll wake up feeling confident, disciplined, and ready to take on the world. But life rarely works that way. Your future is not created by one dramatic moment. It is created by the ordinary decisions you make every single day. The truth is, while you're waiting for life to change, your future is already being written. Every habit you repeat, every excuse you accept, every challenge you avoid, and every action you choose is quietly shaping the person you are becoming, whether you realize it or not. Today's choices are creating tomorrow's reality. Think about where you'll be 90 days from now. That version of you isn't a stranger. It's simply the result of the decisions you make starting today. If you spend the next 90 days learning instead of scrolling, growing instead of complaining, exercising instead of making excuses, and taking action instead of overthinking, your life will look completely different. Not because of luck, not because someone rescued you, but because you decided to become someone who consistently showed up. The greatest mistake people make is underestimating the power of one day. One healthy meal doesn't transform your body. One workout doesn't build incredible strength. One chapter doesn't make you an expert. One act of courage doesn't instantly erase years of fear. But when those small actions are repeated day after day, they become impossible to ignore. Tiny improvements, repeated consistently, become extraordinary transformations. Success doesn't suddenly arrive one morning and knock on your door. It quietly grows behind the scenes while you're making the right choices when nobody is watching. Every successful person you admire once stood exactly where you are now. They also had doubts. They questioned themselves. They wondered whether their efforts would ever pay off. The difference wasn't that they had more confidence than everyone else. The difference was that they refused to let uncertainty stop them. They understood that progress comes before confidence. Action creates belief. The more you keep the promises you make to yourself, the more you begin to trust yourself. And self-trust becomes the foundation of confidence. Many people spend years planning a better life without ever beginning. They read books, watch motivational videos, write goals in notebooks, and tell everyone about the future they're going to create. But planning alone never changes a life. Only action does. There is a huge difference between being interested in change and being committed to change. Interest says, I'll start when life gets easier. Commitment says, I'll start even if today is difficult. Your future rewards commitment, not comfort. The person you'll become 90 days from now depends far more on your daily habits than your occasional bursts of motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some mornings you'll wake up excited. Other mornings you'll feel tired, discouraged, or distracted. That's normal. What matters is what you do on the days when you don't feel like doing anything. Those are the days that separate people who dream from people who achieve. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're casting a vote for the future you want. Every time you refuse to quit, you're becoming mentally stronger. Every time you choose growth over excuses, you're building a life that your future self will thank you for. Imagine meeting yourself exactly 90 days from today. What would that future version of you want to say? Would they thank you for finally taking control of your life? Would they smile because you stayed consistent even when it was difficult? Or would they wish you had stopped waiting and started sooner? That conversation hasn't happened yet because you're writing it right now. The incredible thing about life is that the future isn't fixed. You still have the power to change the story. No matter how many opportunities you've missed, no matter how many mistakes you've made, and no matter how long you've been standing still, today gives you another chance to choose a different direction. Don't underestimate today's decision simply because it seems small. The life you've been hoping for won't be built in one perfect day. It will be built one decision, one habit, one challenge, one courageous action at a time. Remember this, the person you become 90 days from now is being built by the choices you make today. So make today's choices so powerful that your future self looks back with gratitude instead of regret. Ephesians 2. Stop waiting for motivation. Take action anyway. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll begin exercising. Tomorrow, I'll work on my goals. Tomorrow, I'll stop procrastinating. Tomorrow, I'll finally become the person I know I can be. But then tomorrow arrives, and somehow it becomes another tomorrow. This is one of the biggest traps that keeps people stuck for years. They keep waiting for motivation. They believe that one morning they'll wake up feeling inspired, energized, and completely ready to change their lives. They think motivation is something that arrives first, and action follows. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Action comes first. Motivation comes after. The people who build extraordinary lives don't wait until they feel ready. They understand something that most people never learn. You don't have to feel like doing something to begin doing it. Feelings are unreliable. Some days you'll feel confident. Other days you'll feel tired, discouraged, distracted, or uncertain. If your actions depend on your emotions, your progress will always be inconsistent. That's why discipline is so much more powerful than motivation. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is dependable. Motivation shows up when everything feels exciting. Discipline shows up when nothing feels exciting. Motivation helps you start. Discipline helps you continue. And consistency is what changes your life. Think about every successful person you've ever admired. Do you really believe they woke up every single morning feeling excited? Of course not. There were days they felt exhausted, days when they doubted themselves, days when nothing seemed to be working, days when quitting felt easier than continuing. But they kept moving, not because they always felt motivated, because they made a decision that their future mattered more than their temporary emotions. That's what separates dreamers from achievers. Dreamers wait until they feel inspired. Achievers create inspiration by taking action. Here's something powerful to remember: confidence doesn't appear before you begin. Confidence grows because you begin. Every small action sends a message to your mind. It says, I'm someone who follows through. The first workout may feel difficult. The first page may feel impossible to write. The first video you upload may receive very few views. The first business idea may not succeed. The first conversation may feel uncomfortable. But every first step makes the second step easier. Every action builds momentum. Momentum is one of the most valuable forces in life. Once you begin moving, staying in motion becomes easier. The hardest part isn't the work itself. The hardest part is deciding to start. Too many people spend hours thinking about what they should do instead of spending 5 minutes actually doing it. Overthinking creates fear. Action destroys fear. When you take one small step, your mind begins to realize that the challenge isn't as impossible as it imagined. That's why progress always starts with movement, not perfection. You don't need to know every answer before you begin. You don't need the perfect timing. You don't need the perfect timing. You don't need perfect confidence. You simply need the courage to take the next step. Remember, nobody feels ready at the beginning. Every successful person started before they felt qualified. Every confident speaker once stood in front of people with shaking hands. Every successful entrepreneur once questioned whether anyone would believe in their idea. Every athlete once struggled through difficult training sessions. Every great achievement begins with someone choosing action despite uncertainty. Don't let the lack of motivation become your excuse. Because motivation isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. Every time you complete a small task, you build energy. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your confidence. Every day you refuse to quit makes you mentally stronger than you were yesterday. Your habits don't care how you feel. They care about what you repeatedly do. That's why your future isn't determined by your best day. It's determined by what you choose on your hardest days. Can you keep going when you're tired? Can you stay focused when no one is encouraging you? Can you remain committed when the results haven't appeared yet? Those moments define your future far more than the moments when everything feels easy. Imagine where your life could be 90 days from now if you stopped waiting for motivation and simply committed to taking one meaningful action every single day. Not 10 actions, just one step forward, one workout, one chapter, one conversation, one application, one video, one promise kept. Those small actions may seem insignificant today, but together they become a completely different life. The person you admire isn't someone who had endless motivation. They're someone who kept moving when motivation disappeared. So stop asking yourself, do I feel like it today? Start asking yourself, who do I want to become? Because the answer to that question will always matter more than how you feel in this moment. Don't wait for motivation to knock on your door. Become the person who takes action anyway. One day, you'll look back and realize that the decision to start, despite fear, doubt, and uncertainty, was the moment everything began to change. Procrastination 3. Small daily actions create extraordinary results. One of the greatest lies people believe is that success happens overnight. We see someone's achievements, their confidence, their career, their healthy lifestyle, or the life they've built, and we assume they got there because of one big opportunity or one lucky break. We notice the result, but we rarely see the thousands of small decisions that created it. The truth is, extraordinary results are almost never the product of extraordinary moments. They are the result of ordinary actions repeated consistently over time. That's how real transformation happens. It doesn't happen in one perfect day. It happens one day at a time. Imagine placing one brick on the ground. By itself, that brick doesn't look impressive. But if you place one brick every day, eventually you've built a house. Success works exactly the same way. One workout doesn't transform your body. One healthy meal doesn't completely change your health. One book doesn't make you wise. One conversation doesn't build lasting relationships. One video doesn't build a successful channel. One day of discipline doesn't completely change your life. But when those actions are repeated over weeks and months, they create results that once seemed impossible. The problem is that most people quit because today's effort doesn't produce tomorrow's reward. They expect immediate results. They plant a seed today and become frustrated because there's no tree tomorrow. But nature doesn't work that way. Growth is invisible before it becomes visible. The roots grow long before anyone sees the tree. Your life follows the same principle. The work you do today is building something beneath the surface, even if no one can see it yet. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're strengthening your character. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're building self-respect. Every time you choose progress instead of excuses, you're becoming someone who can achieve greater things. These changes may not be visible after one day, but after 90 days, everything begins to look different. Think about water dripping onto a stone. One drop seems powerless, 10 drops seem meaningless. Even 100 drops don't appear to change anything. But after thousands of drops, the stone begins to wear away. Not because one drop was powerful, because every drop mattered. Your daily habits work the same way. Never underestimate today's small effort simply because it doesn't produce immediate applause. Every small action is a vote for the person you're becoming. When you wake up early instead of hitting the snooze button, you're casting a vote for discipline. When you choose to learn instead of wasting another hour scrolling, you're casting a vote for growth. When you keep working even after a disappointing day, you're casting a vote for resilience. Those votes add up. Eventually, they create a new identity. And once your identity changes, your life begins to change with it. This is why consistency is far more valuable than intensity. Many people work incredibly hard for 1 week. Then they stop, they become excited, push themselves to the limit, burn out, and return to old habits. That cycle never creates lasting success. It's far better to improve by 1% every single day than to improve dramatically for a short time and then quit. Small progress may feel slow, but slow progress is still progress. Every day you continue moving forward, you're getting closer to the life you want. There will be days when it feels like nothing is happening. You'll wonder if your effort is making any difference. You'll question whether the work is worth it. Those are the moments when most people give up. But those who succeed understand something incredibly important. Results are delayed. Your effort today is preparing tomorrow's breakthrough. Just because you can't see the change doesn't mean the change isn't happening. Think about learning a new skill. At first, every step feels awkward. Every mistake feels frustrating. You wonder if you'll ever improve. Then one day, without realizing exactly when it happened, you notice you're doing things that once seemed impossible. That transformation wasn't created in a single moment. It was built through hundreds of small attempts that seemed insignificant at the time. Life rewards patience. It rewards consistency. It rewards people who keep showing up when there is no audience, no applause, and no immediate reward. Because that's where extraordinary lives are built. Not in moments of excitement, but in ordinary mornings when you decide to stay committed. The version of you that exists 90 days from now will be the product of the habits you choose today. If you improve a little each day, you'll eventually become someone you barely recognize. Someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more disciplined, someone more confident, someone who keeps promises instead of making excuses. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to change your entire life today. You don't have to become perfect overnight. You only have to take the next small step. Read one more page. Write one more paragraph. Make one healthier choice. Learn one new lesson. Complete one important task. Encourage one person. Pray one sincere prayer. Take one courageous step forward. Never underestimate what one small action can become when it's repeated with commitment. Because extraordinary lives are never built by occasional bursts of greatness. They are built by ordinary people making extraordinary decisions every single day. So don't dismiss today's effort because it feels too small. One day, you'll look back and realize that the smallest actions you almost ignored were the very actions that completely transformed your life. Remember this: big dreams are achieved through small daily actions. Stay consistent. Keep showing up. Trust the process. Because the extraordinary future you're hoping for is quietly being built by the ordinary choices you make today. Pi 4. Leave behind the habits that keep you stuck. If you want your life to look different 90 days from now, you can't keep living the same way you do today. That may sound simple, but it's one of the hardest truths to accept. So many people dream about a new future while holding tightly to the habits that created their current reality. They want better results without changing their routines. They want more confidence without facing fear. They want greater success without becoming more disciplined. But life doesn't work that way. Your future will always reflect your habits. Not your wishes, not your intentions, not your excuses. Your habits are quietly deciding the direction of your life every single day. Think about it for a moment. Your life today is, in many ways, the result of what you've repeatedly done over the past months and years. The conversations you've had, the books you've read, or chosen not to read. The way you've spent your mornings, how you've responded to challenges, and what you've consistently given your time and attention to. None of those choices seemed life-changing in the moment, but together, they shaped your reality. That's why lasting change doesn't begin with chasing new goals. It begins with letting go of old habits. Sometimes the biggest step forward isn't adding something new. It's removing the things that are quietly pulling you backward. Maybe it's the habit of procrastination, telling yourself, "I'll do it later." But later has a way of turning into next week, next month, or next year. Every time you delay something important, you're delaying the future you're hoping to create. Maybe it's the habit of overthinking. You analyze every possibility. You wait for certainty. You convince yourself that you need a better plan before taking the first step. But while you're waiting for perfect clarity, opportunities continue to pass by. Perfection has stopped more dreams than failure ever has. Maybe it's the habit of comparing yourself to everyone else. You scroll through other people's lives and begin to believe you're falling behind. You measure your beginning against someone else's middle. You forget that everyone has a different journey, a different pace, and a different story. Comparison steals your focus, And when you lose your focus, you lose your momentum. Maybe it's the habit of speaking negatively to yourself. You say things like, "I'm not good enough. I always fail. I could never do that." Those words may seem harmless, but over time they become beliefs. And your beliefs influence your decisions. If you constantly tell yourself that you can't succeed, eventually you'll stop trying altogether. Replace those thoughts with better questions. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What if I grow?" Instead of saying, "I'm not ready," to say, "I'm becoming ready with every step I take." The words you repeat become the story you live. Choose them carefully. There are also habits that seem comfortable but quietly steal your future. Spending hours scrolling instead of learning. Choosing entertainment over personal growth every single evening. Complaining instead of creating. Blaming circumstances instead of taking responsibility. Waiting for permission instead of believing in yourself. These habits don't destroy your future overnight. They slowly steal your potential one day at a time. That's why they're so dangerous. They feel harmless because the consequences aren't immediate. But over 90 days, 6 months, or a year, they create a completely different life. Here's something powerful to remember. Every habit is either building the life you want or pulling you away from it. There is no neutral habit. Every repeated action has a direction. So ask yourself honestly, what habits are helping me become the person I want to be? And what habits are quietly keeping me exactly where I am? Be brave enough to answer those questions, because awareness is the first step toward change. The good news is that habits are not permanent. They are learned. And what is learned can be changed. You don't have to be the person you've always been. You don't have to repeat yesterday's patterns simply because they're familiar. Every new day gives you another opportunity to make a different choice. One different morning, one different response, one different decision. Those small changes begin to reshape your identity. And once your identity begins to change, your habits become easier to change as well. Don't try to transform your entire life overnight. Start by replacing one habit. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Read instead of scrolling. Exercise instead of making another excuse. Spend time planning your day instead of reacting to it. Speak words of encouragement to yourself instead of criticism. Choose progress over perfection. Those small replacements may seem insignificant, but they create a chain reaction. One better habit leads to another. One disciplined decision makes the next one easier. Before long, you're living differently without even realizing how much you've changed. Remember, your future isn't trapped by your past. Your past may explain where you've been, but it does not have the authority to decide where you're going. What decides your future are the choices you make starting today. Imagine yourself 90 days from now. Will you still be carrying the same habits that have held you back? Or will you look back with gratitude because you've finally had the courage to let them go? The decision belongs to you. Leave behind the habits that no longer serve your purpose. Leave behind the excuses that keep you comfortable. Leave behind the fear that tells you to stay the same. Because every habit you release creates space for a better version of yourself to grow. And the life you've been hoping for begins the moment you stop feeding the habits that have been keeping you stuck. FD5. Become the person your future is waiting for. Have you ever imagined the person you could become if you truly committed to your growth? Not the version of you that's limited by fear. Not the version that's constantly making excuses. Not the version that's waiting for life to become easier, but the strongest, wisest, most confident version of yourself. That person already exists as a possibility. The question is not whether you have the potential. The question is whether you're willing to become the person who can live the life you dream about. Many people spend years asking for a better future. They ask for greater opportunities, more success, more happiness, better relationships, financial freedom, a healthier body, a peaceful mind. But very few stop to ask an even more important question. Who do I need to become to deserve the future I'm asking for? Because your future isn't only waiting for your goals. It's waiting for your growth. The life you want requires a version of you that thinks differently, acts differently, and responds differently to challenges. You can't expect tomorrow to look different if you're determined to remain the same person you were yesterday. Growth always comes before results. The promotion comes after you've become more valuable. Confidence comes after you've kept promises to yourself. Trust comes after you've shown consistency. Success comes after you've developed discipline. Everything you're hoping to receive is connected to the person you're becoming. That's why personal growth is the greatest investment you'll ever make. No one can take your knowledge away. No one can steal your character. No one can replace your discipline. Those qualities stay with you wherever life takes you. The world often teaches us to focus on getting more money, more recognition, more followers, more possessions. But lasting fulfillment comes from becoming more patient, more courageous, more disciplined, more grateful, more resilient, more compassionate. When you become more, you naturally begin to attract better opportunities. Not because the world suddenly changed, because you changed. Think about a tree. Before anyone admires its fruit, the tree spends years growing stronger roots. Those roots aren't visible. No one applauds them. No one celebrates them. Yet without strong roots, the tree could never support the weight of its future. Your character works the same way. Every challenge you overcome strengthens your roots. Every disappointment teaches you resilience. Every setback develops wisdom. Every difficult season builds emotional strength. The struggles you're facing today may actually be preparing you for the opportunities that are coming tomorrow. That's why you shouldn't rush your growth. The strongest people aren't built in comfort. They're built through consistent effort, difficult lessons, and the decision to keep moving forward when quitting would have been easier. Don't resent the process. Respect it. Because the process is creating someone stronger than you were yesterday. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that changing their circumstances will automatically change their lives. They think, if I get a better job, then I'll be happier. If I make more money, then I'll feel secure. If I find the right opportunity, everything will fall into place. But external changes can only take you so far. Real transformation begins internally. When your mindset changes, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your habits change. When your habits change, your future changes. Everything begins with who you are becoming. Ask yourself, how does the person I want to become handle disappointment? How do they respond to criticism? How do they treat other people? What do they do when no one is watching? Do they complain, or do they create? Do they wait, or do they take action? Do they give up, or do they keep going? Every time you answer those questions with your actions instead of your words, you're becoming that person. Remember, your identity isn't built by what you say. It's built by what you repeatedly do. If you want to become confident, practice courage every day. If you want to become disciplined, keep small promises to yourself every day. If you want to become successful, learn to stay consistent long after the excitement disappears. You don't wake up one morning as a completely different person. You become that person one decision at a time. One disciplined morning, one difficult conversation, one healthy choice. 1 hour spent learning instead of wasting time. One promise kept when nobody else would have known if you broke it. These moments may seem ordinary, but they are shaping an extraordinary future. Imagine meeting yourself exactly 90 days from today. Picture that future version of you standing in front of you. They look healthier, calmer, more confident, more focused, more disciplined. Their eyes reflect peace because they know they refused to quit when things became difficult. Now imagine them asking you one simple question. Incess, will you do today what I needed you to do? That question changes everything. Because your future self is depending on the decisions you make right now. Every day you choose growth over comfort. You're giving that future version of yourself a better life. Every day you choose discipline over excuses. You're bringing that future closer. Every day you refuse to settle for less than your potential. You're becoming someone capable of achieving extraordinary things. Never forget this. The opportunities you're praying for are preparing you only if you're preparing yourself. The life you've been dreaming about isn't waiting for a luckier version of you. It isn't waiting for a perfect version of you. It isn't waiting for someone with fewer fears or fewer problems. It's waiting for the version of you who decided to grow instead of giving up. So don't spend the next 90 days wishing you were different. Spend the next 90 days becoming different. Become someone who keeps promises. Become someone who values discipline more than comfort. Become someone who learns from every setback instead of being defeated by it. Become someone who acts with courage even when confidence hasn't arrived yet. Because one day you'll wake up, look around at the life you've built, and realize something incredible. The future you once dreamed about became your reality because you first became the person who was capable of living it. And that journey begins today. 5-4-6, 90 days can change everything. If you start now, 90 days. At first, it doesn't sound like a long time. 3 months, 12 weeks, just a small chapter in the story of your life. Most people look at 90 days and think, that isn't enough time to completely change my life. But they're asking the wrong question. The real question isn't whether 90 days can change your life. The real question is, what kind of person could you become if you truly committed to yourself for the next 90 days? Because when you change who you are, everything around you begins to change as well. Your habits change. Your confidence changes. Your mindset changes. Your relationships change. Your opportunities change. Your future changes. All because you made one decision to begin. The biggest difference between the people who transform their lives and the people who stay exactly where they are isn't talent. It isn't intelligence. It isn't luck. It's the willingness to start before everything feels perfect. Too many people waste months, even years, preparing to begin. They tell themselves they'll start next Monday, next month, after the holidays. When life becomes less stressful, when they have more money, when they feel more confident. But life has a way of reminding us that there will always be another reason to wait. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you may spend your whole life waiting. The perfect moment doesn't arrive. You create it by taking the first step. Think back to where you were 90 days ago. Some things have changed. Some things have stayed the same. Whether those 90 days felt productive or disappointing, one truth remains: time kept moving. It didn't slow down. It didn't stop. It kept going. Now ask yourself this: where will you be 90 days from today? That future is already approaching. The only thing you still have the power to decide is who you'll become before it arrives. Imagine 2 versions of your future. In one version, nothing changes. You continue putting off your goals. You continue making the same excuses. You continue telling yourself that someday you'll become more disciplined, more confident, and more focused. Then 90 days pass, and you're standing in exactly the same place, wondering where the time went. Now imagine the second version. Today, you make one decision: not to be perfect, not to have every answer, simply to begin. You wake up with purpose. You replace excuses with action. You stay committed even when the excitement fades. You keep showing up on difficult days. You learn from mistakes instead of letting them define you. Day after day, week after week, slowly, almost without noticing, you begin to change. Your confidence grows because you've kept promises to yourself. Your discipline becomes stronger because you've chosen consistency over comfort. Your mindset becomes healthier because you've stopped feeding doubt and started feeding possibility. Then one morning, 90 days have passed. You look in the mirror and realize something incredible. You're no longer the person who kept waiting. You're the person who finally started. That transformation didn't happen because of one extraordinary day. It happened because of 90 ordinary days, filled with extraordinary commitment. Never underestimate what 90 days of consistency can accomplish. 90 days of reading instead of endlessly scrolling. 90 days of exercising instead of making excuses. 90 days of learning instead of complaining. 90 days of choosing courage over fear. 90 days of believing in yourself even when the results aren't visible yet. Those daily decisions create a life that once felt impossible. Remember this: every successful person you admire once stood at the beginning. They had fears, they had doubts, they made mistakes, they questioned themselves, but they kept moving. Not because they knew exactly how everything would work out, because they refused to let uncertainty become an excuse for inaction. You have the same opportunity today. You don't need to know every step. You only need to take the next one. Your future isn't asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be consistent. It's asking you to believe that small actions repeated every day are more powerful than occasional bursts of motivation. It's asking you to trust the process even before you can see the results. There will be moments over the next 90 days when you'll feel like quitting. There will be days when progress seems invisible. There will be mornings when old habits try to pull you back. Those are the moments that matter most. Because every time you choose to continue instead of giving up, you're becoming stronger than yesterday. You're proving to yourself that your dreams are worth your effort. You're building a future that your present self can only imagine. And one day, you'll wake up living the life that once felt so far away. When that day comes, you won't be grateful that you waited. You won't be thankful for the excuses you made. You won't celebrate the opportunities you ignored. You'll be grateful for one simple decision, the decision to start. So don't let another week pass believing you have plenty of time. Don't let another month disappear while your dreams remain untouched. Life is moving forward, whether you're ready or not. The question is whether you'll move forward with it. 90 days from now, you'll arrive at a destination. The only choice you have today is deciding what that destination will look like. Will you arrive carrying regret because you waited, or will you arrive carrying pride because you chose courage over comfort? The answer begins with what you do after this moment. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when everything finally feels right. Now, because 90 days from today, your future self will look back on this very moment. Make sure they smile with gratitude and say, "I'm so glad you didn't wait. I'm so glad you started." Everything you've been hoping for begins with one decision. Make that decision today. Start now. Our phase ending of the speech. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want to leave you with one final thought. 90 days from now, your life will not be determined by the goals you wrote down today. It will be determined by the actions you chose to repeat every single day. Time is going to pass whether you use it or waste it. The next 90 days are coming no matter what. The only question is this: who will you be when they arrive? Will you still be waiting for the perfect moment? Will you still be telling yourself that you'll start tomorrow? Or will you become the person who finally decided that today was enough? Remember, your future isn't created by one extraordinary decision. It's created by hundreds of ordinary decisions made with extraordinary consistency. Every morning you choose discipline over comfort. Every evening you choose growth over excuses. Every moment you choose courage over fear. You're building a life your future self will thank you for. Don't underestimate the power of beginning. The smallest step taken today is worth more than the biggest dream that's never acted upon. You don't have to change your entire life before the sun goes down. You simply have to make one decision: to start. Start before you feel ready. Start while you're still afraid. Start even if your progress feels slow. Start because every great journey in history began with a single step. One day, you'll wake up and realize that the person you always wanted to become isn't someone you found. It's someone you built, one choice, one habit, one day at a time. So when you leave here today, don't just feel inspired. Be committed. Don't just believe your life can change. Prove it through your actions. Because 90 days from now, you'll either be grateful that you started today, or you'll wish you had. The choice has always been yours. Make today the day your future begins. Thank you, and never forget this: if your future is not waiting for the perfect version of you, it's waiting for the version of you who had the courage to begin. Go forward with faith. Go forward with discipline. Go forward with purpose. And most importantly, go forward today.